If you've been here before, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please take the time to consider subscribing, hitting that like button. Little announcement for the next few videos. I do have a sports channel. I decided I'm going to split the two off. So over here, film, movies, TV. Over there, straight sports, basketball, football. We're going to be covering the draft, things of that nature. If that interests you, that will be linked in the description box below. Enjoy the video.
But Will Smith practices selective outrage. Practices selective outrage.
So over a month ago, Chris Rock came out with his special that essentially detailed things that have changed in his life, the upbringing of his daughters, his personal stance on a couple of things, and of course the thing that everyone was there to see, which was his personal opinion and his final, quote unquote, I guess, say all on what happened with him and the whole Will Smith situation. And backlash and all that aside, despite the fact that I think that people have done this thing where, okay, now Chris Rock's not funny all of a sudden. My personal opinion on the whole special itself aside, I do think there's something to be said there. I think what he said was true, right? And I think it actually even comes down to, we can just take the special itself. The opinion surrounding the special itself was that he's no longer funny, he was never funny, he's childish for bringing it up. But for one, personally, it's a year later, and I don't think you ever get the space to tell someone how to vent, and when to get over something. But for two, I think the deeper conversation that needs to be had there is that I think if you're someone that finds yourself looking to be offended, or if things bother you more often because of their view on social media, whether that's left wing or right wing, whether that's liberal or conservative, I think the deeper point there is that, to me, people were so upset and so caught up in everything that Chris Rock was saying about Will Smith that they inherently practiced the theme of his special, and that's selective outrage. He talked about the fact that in his company, or in his present company, his family included, if his father, I think he said, were to come out as trans, he wouldn't be openly accepted. He talked about how, like, as being the odd man out, so to speak, or the token black person, because of his success, his daughter would have to be the person that they would make an example out of, or this would have to be her learned lesson. And I'm not necessarily agreeing on one side or the other, how you handle these situations or whatever the case may be, but I do think the fact that in everything, if you watched the special, in everything that happened, the only thing that people could find the heart to make a point about was literally the Will Smith joke, so to speak, the Jada Pinkett Smith situation, and people made their own opinions about that. But I think, again, if you want to focus on something, there are broader issues here. He covered things that, to me, are much more important than that, but yet we're picking, if we're putting them in order, we're picking the Will Smith situation to be something a year later to be a problem. He covered abortion in there, and that's literally, to me, a more important topic than what celebrities have to say, or what his personal opinion was, or how he viewed the slap. I in no sense condone what Will Smith did, but I think that the practicing of selective outrage not only caused people to miss the point of what he was saying, but to also skip through something that I think could have been very valid points. The fact that black people are consistently made an example out of in certain situations just because it fits the aesthetic. The fact that he said at the end, hey, I chose not to hit Will Smith back because as a black person growing up, my mother taught me not to fight in front of white people. There's something there that needs to be said, and that should not inherently be attached to the fact that Will Smith slapped him and that the Oscar moment is the thing that matters most out of that. He covered abortion, he covered white people wanting to express how they feel like they're losing the power that they once had, or losing the control that they once had over the nation, as we're progressing. I think there are many more things that we could have covered outside of the Will Smith Jada Pinkett argument that, if I'm being honest and being transparent, really only overtly affected black people, because then we got to ponder our own opinions and make our own think pieces about etiquette and what this means going forward for Will Smith, Chris Rock, and the like. The fact that we did embarrass ourselves in front of black people, embarrass ourselves in front of white people, if that's how you feel. For some, the fact that there might be a misogynistic point, protect black women, the things that are generally poignant topics in the culture, and all these things are fine, but I definitely think that there's a deeper meaning here. There were larger conversations to be had that I think we're avoiding. That's it. I think Chris Rock was right. I think that we all, in a sense, practice selective outrage, especially in the modern era of social media, due to the fact that it's much easier to support the things that feel closest to you, or the things that you personally identify with. I do hope in the future we participate in a broader scale discourse, but only time will tell. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. What are your 2 cents on the matter? What are your 2 cents on the collective consciousness, where we currently stand? Do you feel like social media affected that? I'm asking you a lot of questions, but I just essentially want to know what you think. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. If you haven't already, please consider subbing to the channel. It really helps me out. Leave a like and leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.